Everyone knows the dodo went extinct. That part's not exactly a secret. But ask someone what actually happened to the dodo bird, or what it ate, or whether it was really as clumsy as cartoons make it look, and things get fuzzy fast. The dodo might be the most famous extinct animal on the planet, and somehow also one of the least understood. So today, we're clearing that up. Here's what actually happened to the dodo bird, and what these strange, misunderstood animals were really like before they disappeared. Fact number 1. What actually killed it? Ask most people what wiped out the dodo bird, and you'll hear one word: hunting. It's not wrong exactly, but it's only part of the picture, and probably not even the biggest part. Dutch sailors did eat dodos, though multiple historical accounts describe the meat as tough and unremarkable, hardly the stuff hunters would chase to extinction on flavor alone. The real damage came from what those same ships carried onto the island without meaning to: rats, pigs, dogs, cats, and crab-eating macaques. Every one of those animals could reach a dodo's ground-level nest, and every one of them was happy to eat an egg or a chick when they found one. Add in large-scale deforestation as settlers cleared land for farms and the ebony timber trade, and the dodo bird lost its habitat at the same time its eggs were under constant attack. Disease doesn't show up as a real factor in the historical record, at least not compared to those other pressures. Layer everything else on top of a bird that only produced one egg per season, with no reproductive cushion whatsoever, and you get a population that simply couldn't outpace its own losses. It wasn't one cause. It was several problems arriving at once, each one making the others worse. Fact number 2. When it became official. Pinning down an exact extinction date for the dodo is trickier than you'd think, because nobody in the 1600s was tracking endangered species. The last confirmed sighting came in 1662 from a shipwrecked sailor named Volkert Everts, who spotted a small group on an islet off the Mauritius coast. Some records suggest possible sightings as late as the 1680s, though those are considered less reliable. In 2003, researchers ran a statistical analysis on the pattern of sightings and estimated the dodo bird actually held on, unseen, until around 1690, nearly 3 decades after that last confirmed encounter. So there's no single, tidy date carved into a calendar somewhere. Just a slow fade into silence sometime in the second half of the 17th century. Fact number 3. One tiny island, nowhere else on Earth. Part of why the dodo bird collapsed so completely comes down to geography. It was never widespread. It lived in exactly one place, the island of Mauritius, a speck of land in the Indian Ocean. That's it. No mainland populations, no neighboring islands packed with backup dodos. Every single dodo that ever lived was born, raised, and died within the same stretch of coastal forest on that one island. Being confined to a single small island is a common thread among animals that go extinct quickly, because there's nowhere to retreat to when trouble shows up. For the dodo, trouble showed up all at once, and there was nowhere else to go. Fact number 4. It couldn't fly. The other built-in vulnerability was even more physical. The dodo's wings were tiny, practically decorative, tucked against a body too heavy to get off the ground. That wasn't a design flaw. It was the result of evolving on an island with no land predators at all. No big cats, no foxes, nothing hunting from the ground. When flight stops being necessary for survival, it tends to disappear over generations, and the energy that would have gone into powering flight muscles gets redirected elsewhere, like a stronger set of legs for covering ground fast. The dodo bird traded the sky for the forest floor because, for millions of years, the forest floor was perfectly safe. That trade only became a problem the moment something dangerous finally arrived on foot. Fact number 5. The bird behind the myth. Picture a dodo in your head right now. Chances are you're picturing something fat, round, and a little pathetic, waddling around and tripping over its own feet. That image comes largely from paintings made centuries ago, and later from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, which cemented the dodo as pop culture's go-to symbol for hopelessly out of shape. Modern science tells a different story. Researchers have laser scanned the only complete dodo skeletons in existence, and the results point to a bird that was lean and upright, not a barrel with legs. Some of those old fat paintings may have shown captive birds that were overfed in Europe, or artists who kept exaggerating each other's work until the dodo looked more like a stuffed turkey than a wild animal. As for size, modern estimates put the dodo bird somewhere between 20 and 40 pounds, standing about 3 feet tall. That range is wide because dodo weight is still argued over by scientists, and it says a lot about how much guesswork goes into rebuilding an animal from a handful of old bones. Fact number 6, what it actually ate. Dodo birds were foragers, working the forest floor for fallen fruit, seeds, nuts, and roots. Like a lot of birds, they swallowed small stones to help grind up tough food inside a muscular gizzard, since they had no teeth to chew with. For decades, there was a popular story that one particular tree on Mauritius, the tambalak oak, could only sprout after its seeds passed through a dodo's digestive system, meaning the tree was doomed the moment the bird went extinct. It's a great story. It's also mostly wrong. Later experiments showed the seeds could germinate just fine without a trip through a dodo's gut, and other extinct Mauritius animals, like giant tortoises, likely helped spread those seeds too. The dodo bird probably did eat tambalak oak fruit. It just wasn't the tree's only lifeline. That dodo bird on your screen right now, it's sitting on a mug in the store, and the link is in the description below. Fact number 7, it never went anywhere. Dodos weren't migratory, and they couldn't have been even if they'd wanted to. Flightless and living on a single island, there was nowhere to migrate to. What research does suggest is a seasonal pattern within that one island. Dodo birds ran leaner during the hot, rainy months and packed on fat heading into the cooler breeding season when food was more predictable. So instead of a long-distance journey, think of a much smaller cycle. The same patch of forest, the same routines, year after year. Fact number 8, fast, not fat. For centuries, the dodo's reputation was clumsy, slow, wobbly, easy to catch. Recent research pushes back hard on that. 3D scans of dodo leg bones reveal exceptionally powerful tendons, the kind you'd expect in a bird built for running, not stumbling. CT scans of a dodo's braincase even show intelligence roughly on par with a modern pigeon, which is a perfectly respectable amount of bird brain. The clumsy dodo of cartoons and children's books was mostly invented after the fact, by artists and writers who never saw a live one and needed a punchline. The real dodo bird could move. Fact number 9, fearless, not foolish. So if dodos weren't clumsy, why were sailors able to just walk up and grab them? Because the dodo had never needed to fear anything on land. With zero predators for its entire evolutionary history, it simply didn't have a run from that big two-legged creature, instinct built in. That's not low intelligence in a dodo bird. That's an animal reacting exactly the way you'd expect a species with zero predator experience to react. Some historians even trace the name dodo itself back to an old Portuguese word for simpleton, a label the bird never should have earned. It wasn't dumb. It was just profoundly, tragically unprepared for humans. Fact number 10, one egg, no backup plan. Here's a detail that turns out to matter a lot. The dodo bird laid a single egg per breeding season, not a clutch of 5 or 6 like a lot of ground-nesting birds. 1. That single white egg was laid directly on the forest floor in a simple nest of leaves and grass. Nobody kept precise records of exactly how many of those eggs hatched or how many chicks made it to fledging, since nobody was cataloging dodo nests before it was too late. But the math is grim regardless. With one egg as the entire season's investment and ground-level predators eventually raiding those nests constantly, hatch and fledge success almost certainly collapsed once rats, pigs, and monkeys showed up. A reproductive strategy like that works fine in a predator-free world. It becomes catastrophic the moment predators arrive, because there's no cushion, no extra eggs to fall back on if one nest gets raided. Every single loss counted double. Fact number 11. Both parents helped raise the young. Direct evidence here is thin, since nobody wrote detailed field notes on dodo bird family life before they disappeared. But scientists have a solid workaround. Look at the dodo's closest relatives. The Rodriguez solitaire, a close cousin bird from a nearby island, is well documented, and both solitaire parents guarded the nest fiercely and took turns incubating their own single egg. Pigeons, the dodo bird's wider family, are also famous for sharing parenting duties. Put those pieces together, and most researchers believe dodo pairs likely raised their one chick as a team, rather than leaving it to the female alone. Fact number 12. Could it still be out there? Every so often, an animal thought to be extinct turns up alive, catching science completely off guard. The coelacanth, a fish presumed gone for 66 million years, showed up in a fisherman's net in 1938. These comeback stories are real, and they're called Lazarus species, but they almost always come from places humans haven't fully searched. Deep ocean trenches, remote mountain ranges, dense unexplored rainforest. Mauritius doesn't fit that description. It's a small, populated, thoroughly mapped island, not a hidden refuge. So while scientists never say, absolutely impossible, a dodo bird staying hidden and undiscovered for over 300 years on a small island full of people is about as unlikely as extinct species comebacks get. Here's the twist, though. A company called Colossal Biosciences is actually trying to bring the dodo bird back anyway, not by finding a hidden survivor, but by rebuilding one. Using the dodo's sequenced genome and its closest living relative, the Nicobar pigeon, as a genetic template, researchers are working towards something that looks and functions like a living dodo. It's early stage work, and a true dodo walking around again is still years away, if it happens at all. But for a species that's been the world's go-to symbol of extinction for over 300 years, that's a strange and fascinating twist to end on. The dodo bird has spent centuries as a punchline, extinction's most famous mascot, and most of that reputation turns out to be built on guesswork, exaggerated paintings, and a Victorian novelist's imagination. The real dodo was fast, reasonably sharp, deeply unlucky, and gone almost the moment humans arrived. That's a very different story than as dead as a dodo usually gets credit for. This dodo bird design is on a mug in the store right now, and the link for that is in the description. That's all for now. Subscribe to see more.